Honestly, as I go through down this list, I am kind of surprised with how many plants that I've lost this year. And I also forgot I had some of these plants. Hi everyone, it's Marianne, and for today's video, I'm talking about plants that I lost in 2022. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Thank you so much for joining me today, and this is the official, unofficial kickoff of Vlogmas for me. And to get these sad episodes out of the way, I'm starting with the plants that I lost in 2022. And how I kept track of the plants that I have in my plant collection is through my 2022 Plantiful planner, and I just came out with the 2023 version, so if you're interested in that, the link is down in the description, and a section is included in my 2022 Plantiful planner, which you could also find in the 2023 version, is plant inventory. So here, as you can see, it's in the early pages of the Plantiful planner. I listed all the plants that I had at the beginning of the year. And as you might already kind of glimpse under the notes section, I kind of written what I have done with them. Either I sold them, it died in my care, or I just gave them away. So those are kind of like the three criteria for the plants that I lost this year. And I'm going to tell you why I sold or traded them away and how and when they died in my care. So it sounds like it's going to be a sad video, but if you also enjoy hearing plant tea, then I would suggest you watch the entire video. And it's also good to be very upfront and honest about our plant journey and not just share all the good stuff that's happening within our plant collection. I think for me especially, it's good to share with you my failures, the things that I didn't do well with when it comes to my plant collection, as well as why I decided to give up on a plant or just fell out of love with a certain plant, just because it's just an honest part of the plant journey. And it's good to share that with other people so that other plant parents don't feel like they always have to be perfect with their plant collection. I know that comes with a caveat. Every time I share something negative about my plants, I do get very judgy and negative comments. That's okay, because the vast majority of you are very understanding and find that stuff relatable. So that's kind of my goal for other plant parents to feel assured that even though they're not always successful with their plants, it's okay. It doesn't mean that they're a bad plant parent. It's just you learn from it, you move on, and you grow. But yeah, so before we get started, if you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Marianne. Welcome to My Wasteless Life, where I take you along my houseplant and sustainable lifestyle journey and share with you some of my tips and tricks along the way. And if that type of content interests you, make sure you subscribe to my channel before the end of this video, and make sure to like this video and comment down below. Let me know what plants you've lost this year, and I would love to hear from you. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So in my plant inventory, I tried to categorize them by genus as much as I can. So I think that's how we're going to go through it. I'm going to go by each genus in my plant collection and tell you the ones that didn't survive or are no longer with me as of today. But since these are plants that I've lost, I'm not going to have any current picture of them, but I'm going to dig up my archives and B-rolls and see if I can find old footage of them from this year or from early on, so that I could show you what they look like when they were in my care. But yeah, so let's start with my pothos plants. And my pothos plants make up a huge part of my plant collection. But if you've seen my fall plant collection video, you've noticed that I pretty much downsized a lot of my pothos plants. I think I might have even cut them in half or close to half to get to the number of plants that I'm down to. But I still love my pothos plants, but my goal with it, just like with any other plant genus, is to not to collect every single variety of it. Just pick the ones that I really like, and I think they're pretty unique. I kind of don't want to collect plants that look too similar with each other anymore. Now I prefer my plants, even though if they're in the same genus, to look a little bit more different from each other and not look so closely alike. So when it comes to my pothos plants with the Apropenum, okay, so according to my plant inventory, the first one that I lost is the golden pothos. Now I still have a golden pothos with me, which is this one. But I had a golden pothos that I have up in the pole. It's one of my first plants that I staked up in the pole, and it was really lush and beautiful. But I did end up selling it to one of my neighbors, I think early back in spring. And unfortunately, I don't think that plant survived well too under my neighbor's care, through no fault of his own, I think. I don't know if it's my fault. He says it's not my fault either, because when he got the plant, it was pretty healthy. But I think it's just a plant that didn't like the change, because we had a freakishly cold early spring this year. And I guess with the move and everything, even though it was just a couple blocks away, it somehow didn't survive. It experienced root rot. I tried helping him revive it. I actually haven't gotten an update from him if it survived or not, but I won't be surprised if it did survive because it looked pretty bad when I checked up on it last. So, but this one is actually a propagation of that. So technically I still kind of have it, but I don't have like the original plant. I did save this because, as you can see, it is a very variegated golden pothos, which is why I love that golden pothos. It had huge leaves, and my initial plan for it, if I had been successful, is to make it fenestrate, like what I'm doing in my Epipremnum pinnatum over there, the alba and aurea. And actually the other day, and I'm going to show you a close-up, is I took off a cutting of this and tried to stick it in that moss bowl and see if I could also make it grow large and fenestrate, because the Epipremnum aurea, I did get it reverted, hoping under my care it would get back its variegation, but so far it hasn't. So I think I'd rather grow this one up a pole because of this really nice golden variegation and see what happens with it. So that's kind of like the situation with the golden pothos. I no longer have it, but I do have a baby preserved, and I'm trying to see next year if I could make that goal of finally making a golden pothos grow large leaves and maybe even fenestrate. Second pothos that I lost, but I didn't really lose this, is the neon pothos. So I had a neon pothos in a self-watering planter, kind of like you would see with my Cebu blue pothos and my Manjula pothos in my fall plant collection video, that is really lush and trailing. I technically don't have it anymore, but I gave it to my sister, and it's in her apartment. And last time I checked, it was still thriving, it's still growing, it's still in great condition. So I don't regret having that, but since it's with my sister, it's still within the family. Another pothos that I lost this year is my Marble Queen pothos. And this one is my Snow Queen pothos. So like I mentioned earlier, I kind of like don't want plants that look very similar with each other anymore. And admittedly, the Snow Queen and the Marble Queen looks very similar, if not actually identical. So it's just a matter of how much variegation you get out of the plant. So the Marble Queen didn't survive in my care. I believe it suffered root rot. And Marble Queen, I believe this is actually my OG plant. And the Marble Queen is what got me into collecting pothos, but among all my pothos plant, it is the one that's very much prone to root rot. Even with this one, it has actually been suffering a lot of yellowing because I think it has root issues again. I had repotted it 2 or 3 times. I did try growing this in a self-watering planter. It didn't like it. It had massive root rot compared to my other pothos plants that are thriving in self-watering planters. This one wasn't or didn't, so I put it back in a 4-inch terracotta pot, and hopefully it does better. The only thing is it dries out pretty quickly, so it starts yellowing again. So it's a matter of like me really figuring out its watering needs. So as far as all of my pothos plants, this is the one that is very much prone to root rot, so I have to be very careful with the watering of it. But it is a plant that I love and it's still in my collection, but the Marble Queen isn't. And next is the Pearls and Jade and the Glacier pothos. I also got rid of 2 of them. I had 3 of them in my collection. I only have 1 left now. Honestly, I was even thinking of giving that last one away because it doesn't really appeal to me, because it just looks also similar to the Snow Queen and the Manjula pothos, which I have and do want to keep in my collection. So I actually honestly don't know if that Pearls and Jade is going to survive or going to stay in my collection next year. But so far, out of the 3 that I have, that's the only one left that I have as of right now. This goes back to me previously wanting to collect every single type, variety, or form of the pothos plant. So I had the emerald pothos, the global green pothos, and the quote-unquote Marian pothos, which is just a reverted Manjula pothos. So what's common among these 3 varieties is they have the green on green variegation, just like, with minute differences. And I got rid of them because I'm not really a fan of the green on green variegation on houseplants, because what I find, at least in my care, is that you only see the green on green when the leaf is new, and once it matures, it's really hard to distinguish the green and green variegation. You really have to look really hard for them. So for me, I just wasn't worth keeping those plants in my collection. Plus, I didn't really like them, to be quite honest. So I believe for all of those, I think I just gave them all away to my neighbors. I do a free plant giveaway every spring and fall. this year. I just did it in past fall, and I think in the previous plant swap that I went to a couple of them this year. I just gave them away. Yeah, so I did lose quite a bit of Epipenum Pothos in my houseplant collection, but I think for a lot of those is very intentional just because I was trying to downsize my plant collection. And when it comes to my Synapsis plants, I have kept all of them. This is also a variety that has very minute differences in them, but so far all of them are thriving in my care. So they're all in my collection right now, except for one, which is the Synapsis argyrius. As I've mentioned in my Synapsis collection video, that's the only plant that I didn't have anymore because somehow with that plant, I tried 3 times growing it and it would do really well. It would thrive. It would trail really, really long. But at one point, it would just start yellowing like crazy and there's nothing I can do to stop it. I would try every single thing that I know, every plant hack that I know to keep it alive. It just wouldn't stay alive. So after the 3rd time, I think I just like put it outside, let it wither and die. No, I think I might have tried to repot it a couple of times, tried to separate it in different plants, make like 2 or 3 plants out of it, but I don't think any of those survived. I think all of them just died as well. So, and I don't think I'm going to be replacing that plant just to complete my Synapsis collection because I'm pretty happy with the Synapsis collection that I have and I don't feel the need to add it, especially like I said, I'm trying to stay away from collecting plants that look way too similar with each other, and the argyrius just looks so similar to the silvery Ann and the rest of my Synapsis pectus plants that I don't feel the need to have it. Then when it comes to my Philodendron hydrosaeum plants, you also might have noticed if you've been following me for a while is I added a lot of philodendrons in my collection, but the climbing type of philodendrons and the bushy type of philodendrons. But when it comes to my trailing philodendrons, which are mostly the Philodendron hydrosaeum, I actually got rid or lost a lot of them this year. Starting with the Philodendron lemon lime, I gave that away because I like the neon pothos, but for some reason I don't have the same affection for the Philodendron hydrosaeum lemon lime. And I think that goes for most, if not all, Philodendron hydrosaeum because I don't like the way they grow. I prefer the way Epipenum aureum grow. The Philodendron hydrosaeum just don't look nice to me once it starts trailing. So the lemon lime I definitely have gotten rid of. And then the Philodendron micans, I gave away the mother plant, but I do have a propagation of it. So I still technically have the Philodendron micans. I gave away the Philodendron basil, the one that I thought that was a cream splash that I bought, I think, last year because it had like a very bleached variegation. It wasn't a cream splash, it was just a Brazil. So I finally gave that away. And that for me is a plant regret, not because I gave it away, but because it was a $15 4-inch Brazil plant. So it's kind of like, it's very expensive, at least to me, for a Philodendron basil. And I just ended up giving it away. And earlier this year, I also had the Philodendron Brandtianum, which I got off as a cutting from Facebook Marketplace. And I tried my best to propagate that plant because I did get it as a cutting and make it grow, but it just wasn't working well for me. So I actually ended giving that away to a college friend that I just recently reconnected with, who is also a plant person. So I think it's doing well in her care, but because at least from last time I heard, but with me, it just wasn't thriving at all. But again, this is a plant that I had a chance to replace from a plant trade. And so far, this one is doing well. It's in a prop box. We'll see what happened with this one. But the original one that I have, I gave it away. Honestly, as I go through down this list, I am kind of surprised with how many plants that I've lost this year. And I also forgot I had some of these plants. So these plants I'm going to mention, technically, yes, I no longer have them. But these are the rest of the plants that I gave to my sister, which is living now in her apartment. So technically it's still in the family, but I don't have them anymore this year. So which is the Ruby Ficus elastica, which is beautiful the last time I visited it. And the ZZ plant, which is a combination of the ZZ and the Raven plant. And my Hoya compacta. And the Moonshine Sansevieria, the Stromanthe 3-star. I think she also have a propagation of my Exotica and my Pearls and Jade Pothos and one of my old orchids. So those plants technically are hers now, no longer with me, but those are plants that I had at the beginning of the year, no longer have them today. The next plant that I lost is the Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. And honestly, I was probably hanging on to this plant way longer than I should. I was having issues with it since last year. I actually managed to grow it like really, really tall, but then it broke off and then I started to propagate it again. And the issue that I always have with it is it always had like some type of virus or some type of pest infestation. So it would grow really, really well and then it would get sick or it will have issues, it will have pests. So I kind of always have to start over again with propagating it and that would grow beautiful again. That's why I go back and forth with giving it away because it would thrive, it would grow really, really nice. So I decided to keep it and then it would go bad again. So I think the last time that I managed to rehab it, I didn't wait for it to go bad anymore. I just gave it away. And it is a beautiful plant, but I don't think it's the plant for me. Rhaphidophorus in general, kind of like with peperomias, I don't think it's a plant for me. I gave it a shot. It's not the plant genus that attracts me a lot. So I was okay with giving that away. But again, it's one of those plant regrets because I initially paid $22 for that plant. And I also previously bought another plant for like, which wasn't bad because I think I got it for like $7 and I bought two $14. So it was like, do quick math, a $36 investment on the Rhaphidophora tetrasperma, and I just ended up giving away both of those plants because they just didn't do well in my care. Even though like one of them, the initial one that I bought was a tissue culture and the other one was a non-tissue culture. I thought I would have better luck with that one. But still, no, I just ended up giving away both those plants. But it's okay because I think anyone who got it, or I think several people got it because I also gave away propagations along the way, they were really happy. I even had like one drive quite a distance just to get propagated cuttings from me, and they were really happy that they received it. So I'm glad that it went to really nice homes and to plant people who really want them. But it's just not a plant that's for me. I don't think that's a plant that I'll be replacing to in the future. Other plants that I lost that I forgot I had, one is the Haworthia, like the alien egg looking one. I don't know if I actually gave that away. It probably is in that succulent bowl that where I dump all the succulents when I'm no longer interested in them. But I haven't checked if it survived. I don't think it did because I don't see it anymore. I think I also lost the original orchids that I have. I do have one right now, but it was gifted to me this year. And next plant that I lost is monstera graphica, which is a plant that I really wanted, and I got this from the sale in New York. And funny enough, the sale opened a location here in the DC area in Bethesda, and I haven't been to it. I've been planning to go. I was going to go to their grand opening, but it was such a gloomy, rainy day. I didn't go. Plus, there's going to be a lot of people. But anyways, I might do a tour of the sale in upcoming days or upcoming weeks, so watch out for that. But yeah, so the Monstera graphica, I bought it from the sale in New York. And I finally gave up on it because I just can't stand that plant anymore. It's just, I mean, it's an air plant, so I do know that I have to water it, and I do try to water it, but I always forget. So it always dries out, so it doesn't look good anymore. Till one day, instead of just watering it, I just dumped it in the compost because I can't deal with it anymore. And I don't think air plants are for me. They're great plants to have if you're not really into plants, or actually, no, they're not great plants if you're not into plants because you do have to water them. People always forget that they actually do need to water air plants, and that was my case. So I think I'm only down to one air plant now, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to keep that one. But yeah, air plants, not for me. I threw away the Monstera graphica. I paid $35 for it when I initially bought it, which I think now the prices have gone down. But again, a plant regret when it comes to like the amount of money that I spent on it, but I just ended up composting it. Okay, next one is my eucalyptus plant. I've always wanted to grow a eucalyptus plant, make it into a tree. It just never survives. This is my second one, and I got this, I think, at a big box store, which is for a pretty good price, but it just didn't survive, and I don't think I'm going to try my hand in it anymore. While I love it, it's just very hard to keep alive. So I think I'm done with eucalyptus plants as well. But speaking of plant regrets, when it comes to like how much I paid for them and they just end up dying, is this one is probably like the hardest, which is the anthurium clarinervium. I paid $100 for this plant, and by far to this date is the most I've spent on a single plant. And I killed it. Like I tried to keep it alive for as long as I can. it always just pushed out 1 or 2 new leaves for me, and then the other leaves would die. At most, I had 4 leaves at it at a time, and I think the last time it just came down to 1 leaf, and then it just became the corn, whatever you call it, and I think it just rotted off and it's died. It's gone. I didn't feel too bad because I did get a anthurium crystallinum as a gift from Arid Asia, so I kind of replaced it, and it is this one. And gun to my head, I don't know the difference between the clarinervium and crystallinum by just looking at it. So I feel I kind of like still have the clarinervium because I have the crystallinum, but I'm also struggling with this. I think I'm doing a little bit better than I did with the clarinervium. Like this one and this one are growth under my care. This is one of the original leaf that's left. It had like 6 huge, beautiful leaf, and all of them died one by one. It is an import order. I was told to expect that I'm just gonna lose all the leaves that it came with. And so far it's doing well. Haven't really experienced root rot with it. I'm a little bit more on top when it comes to its watering and fertilizing, which two things that are very important to anthuriums that I didn't know about them earlier on when I had a clarinervium. So with this one, I'm a little bit more on top with the feeding and the watering. So hopefully I'll do a little bit better with this. But yeah, the anthurium clarinervium, when you're talking about plant regret among the plants that I lost this year, that one is probably the one that hurts the most because I spent $100 on it. So the next 3 or 4 that I'm going to mention, I'm just going to do rapid fire on them because I would really want to get to the other good ones, and which is the spider plant and the spider plant bunny. Both of those, they were actually doing really well. I just fell out of love with that one, so I just ended up giving them, I think the regular variegated spider plant, I gave it in a plant swap. It went to a really good home. I met the person who actually took it, and the other one is a spider bunny. I think I also gave it in a plant swap, or I just gave it to one of my neighbors. Not sure who got it, but it went to a good place, a good family, or a good plant parent, so I'm okay with that. The Tradescantia gently, when I was doing the centerpieces for my dad's birthday back in the summer, the Tradescantia gently was one of the plants that I added to it. So technically I just gave it away or used it for the centerpiece. So I no longer have that one. And the last rapid fire is the aloe vera. I initially had it potted with my autograph plant. So I had it planted with this plant, so the aloe vera was just like all around it. But aloe vera do grow pretty fast. But each time I try to propagate the babies, they don't really survive. So I think during the growing season, I separated it from the autograph plant, and I just kept the aloe vera outside. And when it came time for me to bring back plants in, it just didn't make the cut. I gave it away to one of my neighbors. And I'm okay losing that because aloe vera, you can get it anywhere if I really want to. And to be honest, I never really used the aloe vera plant for like anything for like first aid or cooking or whatever. So it wasn't a really useful plant for me. So I didn't feel the need to keep it or didn't really feel bad losing it. So I just gave it away. Hopefully it's doing better with another plant family in my neighborhood. But yeah, it's not a plant that I would repurchase anytime soon. Like the ones that I mentioned before, yes, it sucked to lose some of them. Some of them were plant regrets, but I don't think it's going to compare to this last few ones that I'm going to mention. And starting with my string of hearts. So this is what's left of it. Yeah, the thing is, this plant did have to die. Like, it didn't at all. I messed with it. I should have left it alone, but it was thriving the entire year. It was actually such a great plant. It started out as a 4-inch pot, and it was trailing really, really long. And I decided to upgrade it to a 6-inch pot. And I even used that plant to show how you can propagate it via the layering method, and it was successful. But when I was again trying to bring back plants in, trying to consolidate my plant collection, I just like, I don't really want it in the 6-inch pot anymore. So I decided to force it into a 4-inch pot, which is this one, and it didn't like it. It hated it. And I think what happened was, I don't think the repotting itself was the problem. The problem was I left it inside the prop box and forgot to take it out. And Serrapegia woodii is a succulent-like plant. It doesn't really need a lot of humidity, and it died. So a lot of the leaves got like overly watered, and they just shriveled and died. And I don't know, I might be able to save it, but I'm not looking to saving it anymore because I do have other string of hearts plants, the variegata and silver glory, which the silver glory can look very much like the original string of hearts, which is this one. So I don't think I'm going to try to revive this or replace this one. I'm just gonna stick to the ones that I have in my collection, but it was a bummer because this is one of my OG plants. This is like the original one that I bought from Etsy, the very first plant unboxing that I ever did on my channel, the very first plant that I bought via mail, and now it died. But you know, that's how it goes. But yeah, this one hurt. Case in point, the monsteras that I lost this year. And these are like these are very hard ones. So the very first one is my OG Monstera deliciosa. So this one might not be too bad because it is just a regular Monstera deliciosa. I actually have bought a replacement for it, and it technically has a surviving propagation, but this is one of my OG plants. This is like one of my very first plants that I bought when I was starting to build my plant collection, and back when Monstera deliciosas were very hard to find. And I'm really sad that I wasn't able to save this plant. It did have root rot. I had a massive problem with root rot with my monsteras this year, and the Monstera deliciosa, the OG one that I have, was a casualty, and I really feel sad. But actually, the mother plant of it, I was able to sell to somebody. So the mother plant is out there thriving somewhere in Washington, D.C., I hope. But the propagation that I kept, it didn't survive at all, which is kind of sad because I grew that Monstera deliciosa from when it was baby and not really fenestrated for it to having like multiple fenestrations and even like the middle hole fenestrations for it to not survive. It is really hard. But like I said, I still have like one propagation of it, which I think is surviving, but I don't know. I am seeing undercurling in the leaves again. So we will see. But like I said, I did buy a replacement of it, which I actually thought was a Monstera Sport, but turns out it's just a regular Monstera deliciosa from Trader Joe's. But that's okay. I still like it. But I do miss the original one that I have since I did grow it from a baby up until it matured. So that is a sad one. And next one is a Monstera albo. Yes, a Monstera albo. This one, I don't feel too bad because it came from a trade, but I did trade a Phi Constellation Monstera for it, and a really huge one because back then I was expecting Monstera Phi Constellation to drop prices drastically once Costa Farms releases them, and they were like due to release them in like 3 months. So I was kind of like, while the Thicon is still a valuable plant, let me trade it out for an albo, which I did. But the Monstera albo didn't survive in my care. It was doing well for like the first month that I had it, but I did a stupid thing right before I went on a 2-week vacation in December. I decided to repot it in a self-watering planter. And then I left for 2 weeks. When I came back, it was all rotten and dead. And it was a dumb decision on my part. I don't know why I did it. I thought I was like helping it to stay hydrated while I'm gone because I was going to be gone for 2 weeks. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get another Monstera albo via trade. Hopefully I do because I'm not paying for one. The prices of that still hasn't gone down. After all these years, the Pink Princess Philodendron finally gone down. That one is still holding strong. So we don't know, but sad, sad, sad. And speaking of Costa Farms Thigh Constellation, I was very fortunate to be one of the very few to actually win a Costa Farms Thigh-Con during their giveaway a year ago. And I was so happy. I'm glad to have it, even though I already had a Thigh-Con that I got from import. I was very happy to get this one because, you know, it is a highly coveted plant, and I was one of the very few who received it. And honestly, the plant was doing well for me up until the growing season started. It started undercurling and it's starting to have yellowing leaves. So I checked on it by repotting it. The first time I repotted it, I didn't see anything wrong except for it being root bound. So I tried to upgrade it into a slightly bigger pot. And the second time I repotted, root rot happened. And I was already told by other people that the Thicon from Costa Farms are not well bred, that a lot of people are experiencing root rot with it, and Thicons in general are plants that are very susceptible to root rot anyways, not just the Costa Farms one. But it seems like, from what I heard, the rumors are that the Costa Farms one is a lot more susceptible to root rot and just plant issues in general. And for me, I had it for a year, and I feel like I had it the longest, a lot longer than most people who have recently bought it when they finally put it on sale, at least, the 200 that they put on sale. So I thought I was doing well. I beat in the odds, but comes August, I believe, the decline was just very rapid, and this is what is left of her. Like, this is it. This is this leaf. It's not even like a single leaf cutting anymore. It's all rotted out. I don't know why I'm still saving this. I think I just tried to keep it for this video. Or I don't know, maybe I'll find a way to preserve a leaf. I know like other people have done that as plant projects. I don't know if I'm going to do that with this. It's just a sad reminder if I try to hold on to it. But yep, this is the remnants of it. This is like the last one. This is what is left of that Costa Farms Thicon. And I am upset, but honestly, other people were more upset than me. I mean, I am upset that I lost this plant, don't get me wrong, but other people were way more upset and angrier than me, angry at me for losing this plant. And it was really wild in Instagram. I don't know how to react to it, to be honest. I posted my final update. I still haven't looked at the comments to this day because I just don't want to deal with what they're going to say about it. But yeah, I mean, you want to keep the plants that you have, but sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes, yes, it could be my fault, but it's not the end of the world. And sometimes it's not your fault. Like, things happen. There are like a lot of different factors why you lose a plant, especially a very quote unquote rare and expensive plant like this one. So I'm sad that I lost it, but I'm glad that at least I had it for a year. And I'm glad that I still have another Thicon that I got from import that is doing very, very well. And I've learned my lessons from this and from the elbow that I'm not going to make the same mistake to that plant. Knock on wood. I mean, I got that a lot longer or a lot earlier than I got the elbow and the Thicon from Costa Farms. So hopefully it would do better in my care. And I'm just glad that I still have a backup Thicon. So maybe that is why, yes, I'm devastated but not sad that I lost this plant. Because one, I didn't pay $600 for it. And second, I do have a backup Thigh Constellation monstera. But it is sad when you lose plants. It's heartbreaking. Anyways, so those are the plants that I lost in 2022. And there's quite a number of them. And by my count, it's about like 35 if you take out the plants that I gave out to my sister. So technically, they're still in the family, minus like 10. I lost about 25 plants this year, which I think is a record. Last year, I lost 20 plants. That gotta say something about me, to be honest. I mean, not all of those died. Some of them I gave out. Actually, let me do the math. Let me see how many I actually gave out and how many I killed. Okay, so that's not bad. I killed about 8 of them. The rest I sold or give away. So I don't feel too bad because I was kind of like at first, damn, 25 plants I lost. That's crazy. But I only, out of that 25, I killed 8. So, I mean, 8 really good plants. I'm not dismissing that. It includes like the elbow and the Thicon and the string of hearts and the anthurium clarinervia. Okay, let's not recall or recount the ones that I killed, but like killing only 8 out of the 25 that I lost this year, I call that a win. I call that a win.
Win is a win. A win is a win. I don't care what y'all say. A win is a win.
So those are the plants that I lost in 2022. And having the plant inventory is honestly one of the best parts of having the Plantiful planner because I could keep track of my plants. And actually in each month, there's also the houseplant tracker where I write all the plants I currently have at the beginning of each month. So it's also fun to see the changes of my plant within each month. So I really like having that record. So if you're interested in getting your own Plantiful planner, I have the 2023 version already out But if you're only interested in the houseplant journal part, you don't need a 2023 planner. I also have that available too. So if you just want that, you could go check it out. The link is down in the description. But if you're like, I don't need the houseplant journal, I just want the planner part, I also have that. So there's three versions. The 2023 Plantiful Planner, where you have the planner part for 2023 with the houseplant guide and trackers. And you have the 2023 planner, which is just a planner without the houseplant guide and trackers. And you have a Plentiful Day journal, which is just the houseplant care guides and trackers. Plus, there's additional section in the Have a Plentiful Day journal for plant profiles for up to 100 plants. So go check them out. All the links are down in the description. And once I have the physical copy in my hands, I would definitely do a separate video talking about each one so you can see the differences. But I highly suggest you order them now and order them early so you could beat the holiday rush and you'll get them in time, especially if you're getting the 2023 planner or the 2023 Plantiful planner. They have a Plantiful Day. You can get that anytime. It's not time sensitive. You could start that any time of the year next year. But the 2023 planner and the 2023 Plantiful planner, ideally, you would want them by January. So go get yours now. Amazon has a great return policy if for any reason you don't like it. But as I mentioned in my fall plant collection video, my track record so far is really great when it comes to my books that I've sold on Amazon. So far, based on my Amazon sales, you will not be returning it. Most people don't. I only had 3 out of like the hundreds that I've already sold on Amazon. So go get your copy. But like I said, if you don't like it, you can always return it. But if you're anyway interested in any of my planners and journals, order them now so you'll get them on time. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new here, please do subscribe. I come up with videos every week. And if you haven't yet, go check out these videos up here until my next one. But until then, I see you. I appreciate you. Take care of yourself and each other and have a plentiful day. Bye.